Prologue. The call hidden inside your life. If you're hearing this, it's not an accident. There's an old saying, whispered in the shadowed corridors of forgotten temples. Thoth never calls the sleeping. He only tests the ones already turning in their dreams. Tonight, in the timeline where you pressed play on this video, something very old has started moving again. For thousands of years, this test was hidden behind stone walls and secret initiations. It wasn't spoken of in public, not written in simple language. It was encoded in symbols, in silent statues, in the geometry of temples, in the pauses between chants. Priests and adepts from Egypt, India, Tibet, and other lost schools guarded it carefully because it does one thing. It shows who is truly awake and who is only pretending. Modern life has given us screens, concrete, noise, notifications. But under all of that, the same question remains. Is your soul awake, or are you living someone else's dream? Thoth, the ibis-headed, scribe of the gods, keeper of time, master of measure and vibration, doesn't test you with words or beliefs. He doesn't test what you say you know. His test cuts much deeper. It measures your frequency, your inner silence, your capacity to feel beyond the visible. Ancient mystics said that everything is vibration. Modern science, in its own cold language, agrees. Atoms are mostly empty space, energy dancing in patterns. Brainwaves change with thought, emotion, and intention. Sound reorganizes matter. You can see it in cymatics experiments, where frequencies draw sacred geometry in grains of sand. The ancients didn't have EEG machines or quantum field equations, but they had something else: direct perception. They felt how certain chants, certain breaths, certain gazes could recode the human field. Thoth's secret test is not an exam you can cheat on. You can't fake your way past vibration. In Old Egypt, it said there was a chamber with no decorations, no gold, no torches, no audience, just stone, silence, and a particular frequency sung into the walls over centuries. Before you were admitted into deeper teachings, you were brought there. No one told you the rules. The chamber itself tested you. Some would sit and feel nothing. Some would fidget, get bored, demand a sign. Some would panic at the silence and ask to leave. And then there were the others. Those who felt a subtle pressure in the center of the forehead. Those whose breath slowed its own. Those who for no logical reason felt tears rising, as if some forgotten part inside them recognized a long-lost friend. These were the ones Thoth was interested in. Tonight, we cannot sit together in that ancient stone room, but we can do something the priests of old would have called impossible. We can reconstruct the vibrational test across distance through your attention, your breath, your sound, your gaze. In this video, you're not just listening to a story. You're entering a ritual architecture built with words, silence, and intention. We will walk through Thoth's secret test to see who is awake in 4 movements. The silent summons, how Thoth secretly calls you, and how to know you've already been answering. The mirror of sound, an ancient vocal frequency that reveals the truth of your inner field. The gaze between worlds, a test of your inner vision, your third eye, and your resistance to illusion. The vow of the awakened, the final seal that turns a passing experience into a new destiny. This is not entertainment. This is not just a technique. The old texts insisted. To perform the true test even once is to send a signal that changes your field forever. There are risks. You may find that habits you used to tolerate suddenly feel toxic. You may begin to see through lies in yourself and others. You may feel waves of emotion, old memories, fragments of other times rising like ghosts from the deep. If you have a fragile relationship with your own truth, this might be uncomfortable. So before we step into the first chamber of this test, I'll give you the same warning given to the initiates. Do not proceed out of curiosity alone. Proceed because something in you is already tired of pretending to sleep. If that line hits you, if something inside you quietly says, "Yes, I'm ready," then place your hand gently over your heart for a moment. Feel your pulse. This is your drum. This is your first proof that you are not just a concept, you are a living rhythm. Now, in your mind, or if you feel called later in the comments, say, "The journey has begun." Breathe in slowly, and we step through the first door.
The silent summons. This is the invisible invitation that appears in your life long before you consciously hear Thoth's name. The gentle rearranging of your reality that asks, "Are you awake yet?" without a single word. It's strange, isn't it? The test begins long before the official ritual. It begins when your life no longer fits neatly into the story you were given. You look at your schedule, your obligations, your social media feed, and somewhere in your chest there's this quiet, stubborn thought, there has to be something more than this. Most people feel that thought once or twice and bury it under busyness. But if the silent summons has truly reached you, it doesn't go away. It returns in unusual ways. In the way you feel dead inside at a job that looks fine on paper. In the numbness after chasing yet another material milestone. In the hollow echo behind fake laughter. Thoth's first test is not about seeing light, or hearing angels, or having visions. His first test is much simpler. Can you feel the discomfort of a misaligned life and not immediately smother it? Modern psychology calls this existential anxiety, or cognitive dissonance. Spiritual traditions call it the first crack in the shell, the ache of awakening, the scream of the soul. In the temples, they had a blunt phrase, the pain of remembering you were meant for more. Think of it like this. If your soul were a tuning fork, most of society is a loud, chaotic room vibrating at dozens of conflicting frequencies. The silent summons is like a single, pure tone that rings in the distance. At first, you might only sense that something is off. You can't name it, but your inner tuning fork begins to tremble. That trembling is the beginning of Thoth's test. Right now, as you listen, I invite you into Exercise 1, the first layer of this ancient trial. You can do this seated or lying down as long as your spine is relatively straight and you won't be interrupted. If you're in a noisy place, you can still follow internally. You'll repeat it more deeply when you're alone. Step 1. The honest breath. Gently close your eyes. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 4. Exhale through your mouth for a count of 6. Do this 7 times. But here's the key. With each exhale, silently ask yourself, where am I lying to myself? You don't have to answer. You just let the question drop into your chest like a stone into water. You might feel nothing. That's a response. You might feel discomfort, resistance, anger, sadness. You might feel your mind scrambling to quickly justify, to defend, to change the subject. Step 2, the listening. After the 7th breath, let your breathing return to normal, but keep your eyes closed for a moment longer. Now, imagine that somewhere above your head, just out of sight, stands a figure. Not a cartoon deity, not a fantasy, but an intelligent presence, ancient, patient, watching. This is not about belief. This is about permission. Ask in your own words, or like this: if I am ready to wake up, show me what I need to see. And then, for 33 seconds, do nothing. No mantra, no visualization, no forcing impressions. Just feel what happens in your body for 33 seconds. You may notice a tingling in the forehead or crown, a heaviness in the chest or solar plexus, a pressure behind the eyes, nothing at all, just silence and maybe a little impatience. All of that is part of the test. Because Thoth's silent summons is not about fireworks. It's about your capacity to remain with yourself without distraction for even half a minute. In the Egyptian chambers, scribes watched the candidate's face while they sat in silence. They weren't looking for dramatic visions. They were watching for something else. A tiny moment when the features softened, when the breath deepened, when the eyes, even closed, stopped darting under their lids. That moment meant the candidate had allowed stillness to touch them. Modern science knows that within 30 to 40 seconds of focused stillness, your brainwaves can begin to shift from the frantic beta state into calmer alpha or even early theta. This is not woo-woo. This is measurable. But the temples understood something deeper. When your brainwaves change, your access changes. You access memory differently. You access intuition differently. You access energy differently. The silent summons is Thoth's way of asking, will you grant yourself even a few seconds of undistracted existence, or will you run? If you did the exercise honestly, even if you felt restless or silly, you have already stepped into the test. If you felt something subtle, a wave, a pressure, a quiet sadness, or a sense of coming home for no reason, your inner field is responding. This is where the first risk appears. Once you've felt this kind of stillness, even once, you will never be fully satisfied with numbing distractions again. They will still tempt you, but they won't quite fit the way they used to. That discomfort is a side effect of your soul beginning to stir. If, as you listened, you thought, this is me, my life doesn't fit, I've felt this summons for years, then know this: you are not late, you did not miss your chance. The call always arrives exactly when you can finally answer it. If you feel it, and if you're willing, Anchor this moment by writing, now or after the video, in the comments, "I have heard the silent summons." In the old days, you would carve your name into temple stone. Today, you write into the living archive of a digital temple. Different medium, same magic. A public declaration that signals to your own subconscious, "I am not sleepwalking anymore." Breathe once more, gently. Place your hand on your heart again. You have passed the first threshold, even if you don't know it yet. The mirror of sound. This is the ancient vibrational practice that uses your own voice as a diagnostic tool, reflecting back the hidden pattern of your energy field, just as clear water reflects the sky. It's hard to believe, isn't it, that a sound lasting just 33 seconds could expose how awake you really are? But anyone who has ever stood inside a temple, a cathedral, or even a quiet tiled bathroom and hummed a single note knows sound changes space. It fills every corner, exposes every angle. In some places, the sound feels warm and full. In others, it feels harsh or hollow. Your inner world is no different. The priests of Egypt, the rishis of India, the lamas of Tibet, they all understood that the human voice isn't just for talking. It's a tuning device, a way to touch the invisible architecture inside you. Modern science calls this bioresonance or toning therapy. Studies show that humming can stimulate the vagus nerve, calm the nervous system, and even affect heart rate variability. But the ancients went further. They used sound to interrogate the soul. Thoth's second test is hidden inside this. Not in a language, not in a complicated mantra, in a single, simple tone. Before we go into the ritual, let me tell you a story that's haunted me for years. A researcher once recorded the chants of Tibetan monks in a deep Himalayan monastery. When they played back the sound in a lab, the spectral analysis showed impossible overtones, layers of harmonics that seemed to bend the rules of an ordinary human voice. The monks laughed when they heard about the measurements. "Of course," one of them said, "when you chant from here," he pointed to his throat, "you are a man. When you chant from here," he pointed to his chest, "you are a little more. But when you chant from here," he gently touched the space between his eyebrows and the crown of his head, "you invite the mountain to sing through you." The mirror of sound is exactly this, a way to find out where you are chanting from: throat, chest, mind, or that secret space where the soul leaks into the voice. Now we begin exercise 2, the second layer of Thoth's test. If you can, do this in a place where you can make a gentle sound without worrying who hears. If not, you can first imagine it, then repeat physically later. But the real power comes when you actually vibrate. Step 1, the posture of truth. Sit upright, feet on the ground if possible. Let your shoulders relax. Bring your chin slightly down, as if you are bowing to something ancient and invisible. Place one hand on your chest. Place the other on your lower belly. Close your eyes. Step 2, the tone. You're going to make a single, long sound, like enjoying a piece of food, but softer and more continuous. Inhale gently through the nose. On the exhale, let your lips close and hum Keep it at a comfortable pitch, not too high, not too low, just natural. Do this for about 10 seconds, then inhale again. Repeat this a total of 3 times. As you hum, notice. Does the vibration stay mostly in your nose and lips? Does it descend into your chest, buzzing against your hand? Does it reach your belly, your skull, your forehead? Most people have never paid attention to this, but Thoth's adepts did. They listened not only with their ears, but with their hands on their own bodies, feeling where the sound refused to go. Step 3. The descent and ascent. Now we refine it. On your next hum, start with a slightly higher pitch, then slowly glide downward, like a slow slide, as if your voice is melting down a staircase. Start higher, then gently lower, 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 until you reach the bottom of your comfort. Then, on the next breath, do the opposite. Start low and glide up, like mist rising. As you do this, your task is simple. Track the vibration. Where does it grow strong? Where does it fade? Where does it feel blocked or off limits? This is the mirror of sound. You might discover that your voice vibrates strongly in your throat, but feels dead in your chest. Or it buzzes in your head, but never quite roots in the belly. Or everything feels faint, as if your sound is shy of entering your own body. In the temples, this was not judged as good or bad. It was simply information. But here's where Thoth's test sharpens. If, as you hum, you feel embarrassed, ashamed, or silly, if your mind says, "This is stupid," or "My voice is ugly," or "I should be better at this," then the test has revealed something crucial. You are afraid of hearing yourself. The mirror of sound can't reflect your soul clearly if you are constantly throwing stones at the surface of the water. Older traditions were brutally honest about this. They said, "The one who fears their own voice fears their own truth. The one who will not hear themselves cannot hear the divine." There is a practical side effect here too. Humming like this stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. It literally, physically calms you, lowers stress, enhances the feeling of safety in your body. But when someone is deeply disconnected, that feeling of safety can feel unfamiliar, even threatening. This is why some people feel sudden emotion or even discomfort during simple toning exercises. It's not because the sound is too intense. It's because, for the first time in a long time, a safe vibration is touching places that have only known tension. Thoth's test is ruthless but compassionate. He watches. Will you quit when your own emotion surfaces? Will you hide as soon as your voice wavers? Or will you stay with yourself for just 33 seconds longer than usual? Let's add the third layer now, the ancient key. In some Hermetic circles, an unspoken vowel was used, not as a magical word, but as a way of aligning the spine of consciousness. You don't need the original language to access the principle.
The gaze between worlds. This is the inner vision trial where your eyes become a doorway, your attention becomes a blade, and illusions finally lose their power to convince you they are solid. Anyone who has ever stood in the cold stone chamber of an Egyptian temple knows that it is not a place for those who tremble at silence. But the true test was not in the silence. It was in what the silence did to your perception. Have you ever stared at a fixed point, the corner of a picture frame, the center of a candle flame,
your own eyes in a mirror and felt reality begin to waver? Edges blur, colors shift. The face you've worn for years starts to look unfamiliar. Most people shake their heads, blink, and scroll on. But in ancient circles, this was the doorway to the gaze between worlds. Thoth's third test doesn't care how many books you've read or how many spiritual quotes you've shared. It asks a much stranger question. When reality bends a little, do you panic or do you stay? In India, they speak of the Agna Chakra, the command center between the eyebrows, the seat of insight. In Tibet, practitioners gaze at thankas or mandalas until the image begins to vibrate, teaching them that form is not as solid as it appears. In Egypt, initiates stared at simple geometric carvings until their minds slipped beyond the stone into the pattern behind it. Modern neuroscientists studying Ganzfeld experiments have shown that when the brain is deprived of changing visual input, it starts to generate its own lights, colors, phantoms. They call it the perceptual filling in. The mystics called it the veil beginning to thin. Here, we consciously step into the third layer of Thoth's test. This part is powerful. If you have a history of severe dissociation, paranoia, or unstable perception, take this gently, like dipping your toes in water rather than diving. If at any point you feel genuinely unsafe, open your eyes fully, look around, feel your body, and remember you are in control. Step 1. Choosing the gate. You will choose one of 3 gates: a candle flame in a dim room, a small neutral dot drawn on paper at eye level, your own eyes in the mirror. Each has a different flavor. The candle is ancient, used in Trotka meditation to purify the gaze. The dot is minimal, no stories, just point and space. The mirror is the most direct, you and your reflection, no intermediaries. Choose the one that calls to you now. Step 2. The steady look. Sit comfortably, place your chosen gate at eye level, about an arm's length away. Soften your body. Take 3 slow breaths. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Now, let your eyes rest on the gate. You are not staring aggressively. You are resting your gaze, like placing a feather on a still pond. The rule is simple. Whatever happens, you do not look away for 120 seconds. 2 minutes. Your mind will protest. That's too long. But it spends hours on things that drain you. This is 2 minutes that can return you to yourself. As you gaze, notice the tiny movements of your eyes, the tension in your jaw or forehead, the urge to fidget, check your phone, do anything but this. This is where the test begins. Thoth is not watching how spiritual you look. He's watching if you can stay in contact with a single point without abandoning yourself. Step 3. The softening of the frame. After about 30 to 60 seconds, many people notice a strange thing. The edges of the gate soften. The space around it brightens or darkens. If it's a candle, a halo may appear. Colors may shimmer. If it's a dot, it might seem to float, to move slightly, to grow or shrink. If it's your own eyes, your face may distort, morph, look older, younger, unfamiliar. Most people shake their heads, blink, and collapse the magic. But in ancient circles, this was the doorway to the gaze between worlds. Thoth's third test doesn't care how many books you've read or how many spiritual quotes you've shared. As reality bends a little, do you panic or do you stay? In India, they speak of the Ajna chakra, the command center between the eyebrows, the seat of insight. In Tibet, practitioners gaze at thankas or mandalas until the image begins to vibrate, teaching them that form is not as solid as it appears. In Egypt, initiates stared at simple geometric carvings until their minds slipped beyond the stone into the pattern behind it. The inner question as you maintain the gaze is, what inside me is real even when the image changes? Again, you do not need to answer with words. Just let the question live in your gaze. Some people feel a deepening presence behind their eyes, a sensation of someone calmly watching through them, a quiet paradoxical feeling of being more here and less attached at the same time. Others feel nothing except boredom and a sore neck. Both are valid. The test is not about hallucinating. It's about, can you remain present when your perception becomes fluid? Because awakening is not just seeing light and love. It is seeing, sometimes painfully, how much of what you called reality was a projection. Your fears on other people's faces, your parents' voices in your head, your culture's beliefs masquerading as truth. If you cannot stay steady when your candle flame grows a halo, how will you stay steady when your life starts to unravel illusions? In the temples, advanced students would use the gaze between worlds to practice seeing through roles. They would stare at their own reflection until priest, scribe, father, mother dissolved, and they were forced to confront a more naked identity, the one who is aware. That's all. The aware of thoughts, of feelings, of visions, of distortions. That awareness is the beginning of the sixth sense, the third eye, true intuition. Not fortune-telling, not mind-reading. Simply, I know that I am here, watching, even as everything changes. When you touch this even once, the test is passed at a subtle level. You may, after this practice, notice you are a little less reactive to other people's moods. You can watch your own thoughts for a few seconds before believing them. You feel a thin layer of space between you and your experience. This is not detachment in a cold sense. It is freedom. The main side effect, if done impatiently or forced, is over-disassociation, a sense of feeling detached, unreal, floaty. This is why you must end the practice grounded. So, when your 2 minutes are complete, or when you feel the exercise is enough for now, gently close your eyes, place your hand on your chest or thighs, take 3 deep breaths. Feel the weight of your body on the chair, your feet on the ground. Look around the room. Name silently 3 things you can see, 3 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel. This is you reincarnating into the moment after touching the between-world state. If you felt something, even a subtle shift, anchor it. Later you can write, I have looked through the veil and remained. Not as bragging, but as a reminder to your future self, you stayed when it got weird. You didn't collapse at the first wobble of the picture. In the ledger of Thoth's test, that counts for more than 100 books read and forgotten. Remember, just once is enough to mark you. You can, of course, repeat this practice, deepen it, refine it, but it only takes one sincere encounter with the gaze between worlds to plant a seed that grows for the rest of your life. Let your eyes soften now wherever you are. Breathe. Notice that you are the one seeing, And that realization alone is already a small awakening. The vow of the awakened. This is the final seal that turns a single mystical moment into a new timeline, a conscious choice that says, I will not abandon this part of myself again. Tell you to repeat a mantra 1,000 times? Sorry, the ancient magicians would laugh in your face. Not because repetition is useless, but because without a vow, repetition is just habit, and habit is what put most people to sleep in the first place. Thoth's final test is not about whether you can sit still, hum beautifully, or stare at a candle. By now, you've already done things that many never bothered to try. His final test is about something far more dangerous. Will you claim the shift or walk away as if nothing happened? There is a cruel, quiet tragedy that happens in the modern world every day. Someone has a powerful experience, a sudden moment of presence, a deep meditation, a dream that feels more real than waking life. Their field rewires, their heart opens, their perception changes. For a brief window of time, they are different. And then they go back to their life and pretend it was just a feeling. Within weeks, the old patterns reclaim them. The experience becomes a story they tell at parties or to themselves when they feel nostalgic. Yeah, I had this crazy awakening once. The temples called this spiritual miscarriage. The soul conceived a new self, but it wasn't carried to term. Thoth's final test prevents this. It asks you to bind your glimpse of truth to a living vow. Not a vow of perfection, not a vow to become a saint or to renounce the world or to bypass your humanity. A simpler, fiercer vow. I will not pretend to be asleep again. This is more complex than it sounds, because being asleep comes with benefits. Less responsibility, easier excuses, the comfort of being a victim of circumstance instead of a co-creator of reality. When you take the vow of the awakened, you are not promising to never fall, never get lost, never forget. You are promising that when you notice you are acting like a sleepwalker, you will stop mid-step and remember. This is how the test becomes destiny. Now we will walk through exercise 4, the sealing ritual. Step 1, gathering the threads. First, gently recall what you've experienced in this journey so far. The uncomfort or recognition of the silent summons, the vibration of your own voice in the mirror of sound, the soft strangeness of vision in the gaze between worlds. Don't strain, just let impressions arise, sensations, emotions, images, insights. Imagine these moments as threads of light scattered around you in the room. Some are bright, powerful memories. Some are faint, subtle feelings. Some you barely remember consciously, but your body remembers. Now, breathe in deeply and imagine that with every inhale, you gather these threads closer, wrapping them gently toward your heart. You are not clinging. You are acknowledging these moments happened. They mattered. Step 2, the hand and the heart. Place your right hand over the center of your chest. Feel the warmth of your palm. Feel the beating drum inside, steady, ancient, older than your conscious mind. In Egypt, they believed that during judgment in the Hall of Mayat, the heart would be weighed against a feather. A heavy heart, full of lies and denial, sank. A light heart, honest and aligned, rose. Right now, your heart is not being judged by gods. It is being witnessed by you. Say softly, aloud if you can, or in your mind, I acknowledge that something in me has awakened. Pause for a moment. Let any doubt, skepticism, or cynicism arise. Don't fight it. Thoth's scribes loved this part. They knew that a vow taken against inner resistance is weak. A vow taken with full awareness of doubt is strong. So if your mind says, "Has anything really changed?" you answer, "Yes, I am the one who tried the test. That alone is different." Now, choose a simple sentence that feels like a vow to you. You can use one of these or let your own arise. I will not pretend to be asleep again. I choose to remember my own vibration. I accept the path of the awakened, step by honest step. I have begun, and I will not abandon myself. Whichever phrase you choose, we will seal it with breath and vibration. Step 4, sealing the vow. Inhale deeply through your nose. On the exhale, whisper your chosen vow softly, letting your breath carry it out into space. Do this 3 times. Each time, imagine your words leaving your mouth as a faint, glowing mist that settles around you like a cloak. You are literally speaking your new pattern into your field. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, responds strongly to emotionally charged repetition. Spiritual traditions knew this long before science gave it a name. They used vows, mantras, and declarations not as magic spells, but as neural and energetic anchors. This is why the side effect of this practice is often subtle, but profound. Within days, you might find yourself catching old habits quicker. You might feel a quiet shame when you betray your deeper knowing. You might also feel a new strength, a kind of inner spine forming. That spine is your vow taking root. Now, step 5, joining the field. In ancient times, initiates would stand before a small circle of witnesses and speak their vow aloud. The community would hum, chant, or sit in silence, amplifying the vibration. Today, we have an odd modern temple, the comment section, the invisible mesh of thousands of minds tuning into a single piece of content. It may look chaotic sometimes, but energetically, it is a field. When you write something there with sincerity, you are not just leaving a review, you are signing your name into a collective pattern. So if, and only if, you feel it truthfully, I invite you to later comment, "The journey has begun. I have taken the vow," or your own words that carry the same essence. As you type, don't do it mechanically. Feel your heart. Feel your breath. Imagine that every letter is a small chisel stroke on the stone of your destiny. You are carving a new groove. And as you do, remember that you are not alone. Somewhere in another country, another time zone, maybe years from now, will press play on this same transmission. They will read your words. They will feel less crazy, less alone, less weird for waking up in a world that still prefers sleep. Your vow might be the whisper that keeps them going on a bad day. This is how Thoth's test becomes a shared ritual. Not a competition, not a hierarchy, a resonance. The quiet invitation to walk together. If you've come this far, you have done more than most ever will. You have faced the discomfort of the silent summons, offered your own voice to the mirror of sound, held steady during the gaze between worlds, sealed a vow of the awakened in your own chest. Whether you felt fireworks or only a tiny shift, it doesn't matter. In the language of energy, small, sincere movements are worth more than dramatic performances that are quickly forgotten. Now, one more layer. In the old mystery schools, they understood that a single awakened person is not enough. It is the network of awakened beings subtly influencing families, communities, and timelines that actually shift reality. They didn't have subscribe buttons or share icons. They had physical gatherings, whispered invitations, hidden symbols on doorways. When you saw the symbol, you knew there is a place inside where others remember. Today, our symbols are different, but